So we're going to talk about extrusion in Maya. It's an extremely important tool. So extrusion in Maya is somewhat like stretching modeling clay. Let's imagine we have a flat shape on a surface. So I'm going to draw it for you. You'll understand better. Here we go. So let's envision, for instance, we have a square drawn on a piece of paper. So here, this is the piece of paper. And we have a square that I'm going to draw. No, I will leave it pink. We have a square. What should I do in this situation to consider? So we have a square that is just drawn there. Well, extrusion basically allows you to pull this shape upward to create a sort of new dimension. As if we had taken a square of paper to make a shape. So here, if I lift it, if I extrude it, it will look like this. So here we go, click, click, and click. Now we will have a shape. It's as if we are gently pulling the cube upward. And that would give us an extrude. So what does that look like in Maya? In Maya, we will actually select a part of the geometry. So a face or multiple faces, and we will extrude it by pulling it in a specific direction. So extrusion is really a highly versatile tool in Maya, and in fact, it creates a lot of details. It creates complex shapes and volumes from simpler objects. So the cube and the cylinder that we are going to see right here. Now let's return to our Maya. So in this example, we have a three-dimensional cube, and I have added several additional edges to it for better visualization and understanding. I added polygons to my cube. Why? Because I want to select faces by right-clicking. One face for now. We are going to select this face. And we are going to extrude it. So I have selected this face. I press W. To use my move tool, I press F briefly to center it with the face. So as we mentioned, we can move the faces, we can shift them, but if I move them now, it will actually move all the adjacent faces as well. We agree on that. This is not an extrude that we are doing. It's just moving a face. So there are several different methods to extrude. The first method is by clicking on this logo at the top, or by holding Shift and right-clicking. And then we have extrude face. I'll repeat it so you can understand it very well. Shift, right-click, extrude face. So it's just the same logo as what is up here. Now, we click on it, release, and a new gizmo appears with a new window. And we will see that if we move, it doesn't do the same thing at all. Here we have our first extrude. So we can definitely extrude upward, like this. We can also indeed extrude downward. Isn't that beautiful? You can also move it, of course. Exactly the same as if we had a cube. I do Ctrl-Z to go back to the basic thing. And here we will have several parameters. So this, as we saw, is the thickness. So it's the thickness of the extrude. So we are just going to put in just a little bit more. Here it is right here to move the translation of our extrude. Here it is to create an offset, meaning that our face, because we always have it, the face we have selected, we will be able to... We can reduce it to try to create a collar shape. In fact, it's a lot of testing. This is what we can do. So now, you will be able to play around with this a bit to see how the tool works and how it reacts. And here we can offset in reverse to do this kind of thing. So we will stay. So, we can also move the data using the numeric keypad. And the divisions refer to the number, a bit like the BEL, which is the number of segments, the number of divisions we assign to our extrusion. It's convenient like this, we have it directly, and we won't deal with that for now. It's for very specific cases as well. So I want a small extrusion like this, and I'm okay with that. So I press W or enter, it doesn't matter, to confirm. I switch back to object mode, and here is my first extrusion. Great. So that's the first way to do it. The second way, which is much faster, you'll see, I'll show you again, how I did it just 2 seconds ago. Meaning I took a face and either did shift right click to extrude the face, or I can click on it and then I do my extrusion. I personally have a different approach to this way of doing it. I also use it this way, but when I want to go fast, because you will see that we will use the extrusion a lot, there is a trick that allows you to get another extrusion in less than a second. We click on face to select our face. We might take this one instead, and what we are simply going to do is press and hold down Shift key. And we see that when we hover over the arrows of our gizmo, our pivot, the little extrusion appears. Well, if I just hold Shift and pull, we get exactly the same thing. So you see that it can go really fast. Hop, I take this, bam, extrusion, bam, then I take that one, extrusion, bam. And it goes super fast. I can take this back, hop, I can move it like this, and I can do this, and I can also perform an extrusion on that side. You see, and there in 2 seconds, you actually create something. You are in the process of creating something. Sure, it's ugly, but you are creating something. So there you go. These are roughly the 2 methods I use for the extrusion. As you saw, when I do this, I don't have all the options appearing here. I will need to go into the editor de propriétés to view the extrusion we created and be able to manage the parameters. That's why it's definitely nicer when we want to change the parameters of our extrusion to click directly on it so that our little window appears, and it's very much simpler. So, a concrete case, instead of doing something that isn't very beautiful, even if this isn't beautiful either, well, here we have a cylinder that we can easily transform into glass, or a cup, or whatever you want, in 2 seconds, by selecting all the faces here. So I can't double click here because these are triangles, and Maya does not account for the loops of triangles that are gathered at a single point like this. So here, you will either need to press Shift each time and left click, or use the Tab key, and then we can slide and collect them all. And then I will perform my extrusion with the Shift key, and extrude slightly along the Y-axis downwards. Once this extrusion is done, you can see that I can still move. So now I no longer have the Shift key pressed, but I can still move my face. Well, I'm going to place it, let's check. I'm going to put it right there. There. And there we have our somewhat ugly glass. But it's a concrete example I'm giving you to show you how fast it is with Extrude to create the objects we want.